Today we will discuss biology based on NCERT, and the name of the topic is respiration in organism. This topic we will study today. Now the question arises here: why do we respire? What is the need of respiration? We have learnt that all organisms are made up of small microscopic units called cells. Every organism made up of cells. Cell is the smallest structural and functional unit of an organism. As you know, that cell is made of, or any body is made up of cell, and cell is the smallest structural and functional unit of organism. Each cell of an organism performs certain function, that is, for example, nutrition, transport, excretion and reproduction. These are the functions that every cells perform. To perform these functions, the cell need energy. Even when we are eating, sleeping or reading, we require energy. To perform function, different kind of function, cells needs energy, and we get energy from where? Let's just discuss that. But where does this energy come from? The food had store energy, which is released during respiration. Therefore, all living organisms respire to get energy from food. So we get energy from food. During breathing, we breathe in air. What is breathing? Breathing is taking oxygen by nostrils, by lungs in our body. You know that air contains oxygen, and air, because oxygen is required in the body, and from breathing oxygen is entered in our body, and oxygen present, as you know, in air. We breathe out air which is rich in carbon dioxide. We take air which is rich in oxygen, and we breathe out air which is rich in carbon dioxide. The air we breathe in is transported to all part of the body and ultimately to each cell. When we take breathing, the air we enter in the body is transported to all the part of body, and in the cells, oxygen in the air helps in the breakdown of food. The process of breakdown of food in the cell with the release of energy is called cellular respiration. Actually, this is the cellular respiration in which the breakdown of food in the cell which require oxygen and releases energy. This is the important step. Cellular respiration takes place in the cells of all organism cells. What does it happen in cell? In the cell, food, glucose, which is present in the form of glucose, is broken down into carbon dioxide and water using oxygen. When glucose and oxygen, here we can say glucose with the use of oxygen, carbon dioxide is produced, and water plus energy is also produced. When breakdown of glucose occurs with the use of oxygen, it is called aerobic respiration. Here the use of oxygen means this is using of oxygen and aerobic respiration. Food can also be broken down without using oxygen. Without oxygen means anaerobic respiration. Breakdown of food releases energy. When food is broken down, energy is released, as we can say, from glucose with the use of oxygen, carbon dioxide plus water, and energy is released during this process. And you should know that there are some organisms such as yeast that can survive in the absence of air. Important here is yeast, and this comes in exam generally many times. They are also called anaerobes. Anaerobes. They get energy through anaerobic respirations. These organisms which without the use of oxygen, and the respiration type is anaerobic. Anaerobic respiration without the use of oxygen, and the organism called anaerobes. In the absence of oxygen, then glucose break down into glucose, alcohol and carbon dioxide. This is the diagram. This is the symbol glucose without the use of oxygen, and alcohol plus carbon dioxide plus energy is released during this process without using alcohol, without using oxygen, alcohol plus carbon dioxide and energy is released. This is important. The yeast are single cell organism. Yeast were anaerobes that we have seen, and these are single cell organism. They respire anaerobically, and during this process alcohol is manufactured. Alcohol aids. They are therefore used to make wine and beer. This process is used to make wine and beer. Our muscle cells can also respire anaerobically, but only for a short time. When there is a temporary deficiency of oxygen in our body, as you know, during heavy exercises or fast running or cycling or walking for many hours or heavy weight lifting, the demand for energy is very high, and due to deficiency of oxygen, because the oxygen cannot be met in such large quantity, so energy deficiency of oxygen leads to anaerobic respiration, but the supply of oxygen to produce the energy is limited in this case. Then the anaerobic respiration takes place in the muscles. Muscle cells to fulfill the demand of energy. For example, glucose in the muscle, in the absence of oxygen, lactic acid plus energy is produced. Important here is that lactic acids, that's why we are feeling fatigue. Have you ever wondered why you get muscle cramp after heavy exercises? The cramps occur when muscle cells respire anaerobically, because in that case, why it is happening? Without the absence of or limited amount of oxygen present over there, and lactic acid plus energy is produced. Partial breakdown of glucose produces lactic acid, and the accumulation of lactic acid causes muscle cramps in the body. We get relief from cramps after hot water bath or massage. Can you guess why it is so? Because the hot water bath or massage improves circulation of blood. Important line here is the circulation of blood. As a result, supply of blood to muscle increases. Muscle cells supply of blood increases, and when the oxygen will be produced, then that proper aerobic respiration will take place. Aerobic, carbon dioxide plus water will be produced plus energy will be produced in that case. The increase in the supply of oxygen result in the complete breakdown of lactic acid into carbon dioxide and water that we have seen. Now, what is breathing? Breathing means taking air rich in oxygen and giving out air rich in carbon dioxide with the help of respiratory organs. With the help of respiratory organ, carbon dioxide is released and oxygen rich air is taken by human body. The taking in of air rich in oxygen into the body is called inhalation, and giving out of air rich in carbon dioxide is called exhalation. So inhalation, intake of oxygen, and giving out of air which is rich in carbon dioxide is called exhalation. It is a continuous process which goes on all the time and throughout the life of an organism. Breathing is a continuous process. Number of times a person breathes in a minute is termed as breathing rate. As doctor, we have seen generally measures breathing rate. Both inhalation and exhalation takes place. A breath means one inhalation plus one exhalation. Would you like to find out your breathing rate? Do you want to know whether it is constant or it changes according to the requirement of oxygen by the body? If you do heavy exercises then breathing rate will increase, while if you are in rest mode or sleeping, the breathing rate will comparatively will lesser. Whenever a person needs extra energy, he or she breathes faster. As a result, more oxygen is supplied to our cells. It speeds up the breakdown of food and more energy is released, as you have seen, as we have discussed. On an average, an adult human being breathes in and out 15 to 18 times a minute. 15 to 18 times a minute on an average adult human being during rest breathing do breathing. During heavy exercises, breathing rate can also increase up to 25 times per minute. While we exercise, not only do we breathe fast, we also take deep breaths and thus inhale more oxygen. When you feel drowsy, obviously when you are in rest mode, then the breathing rate also will slow down. Does your body receive sufficient oxygen? Oxygen, as we have seen, otherwise it will be difficult to take breathing. How do we breathe? Let's now learn about the mechanism of breathing. Normally we take in air through our nostrils, means from nose. This is opening of nose is nostrils. When we inhale air, it passes through our nostrils into nasal cavity, and from the nasal cavity the air reaches our lungs through windpipe. From nasal cavity to windpipe, air will go in the lungs through windpipe, and lungs are present in the chest cavity, as we have seen. Generally, this cavity is surrounded by ribs on all the sides. A large muscular seat called diaphragm forms the floor of the chest cavity. In the next page we will see, next slide we will see the diagram of chest, and you will see the diaphragm, which is the lower part of the chest. Breathing involves the movement of the diaphragm and the rib cage. During inhalation, ribs moves up and outwards and diaphragm moves down. This movement increases space in our chest cavity, and in this way air rushes into the lungs. The lungs get filled with air. What is happening here during exhalation? Lungs get filled with air during exhalation. Rib moves down and inwards, while diaphragm moves up to its former position. This reduces the size of chest cavity and air is pushed out of the lung. This is the process that is happening in our breathing activity. This is the nasal passage. You can see this is the oral cavity and this is the nasal passage, and the air, pharynx, and then trachea. This is the trachea, and these are lungs. These are lungs, and these are ribs, and this is the diaphragm that we have discussed. So this is the, in fact, respiratory organs of our body. This is the respiratory, how does it happening, respiration in our body, and you can see the structure of, this is the structure of lungs in our body. The movement of these movement in our body can be felt easily. Take a deep breath. You keep your palm on the abdomen and feel the movement of the abdomen. What do we breathe out? Do we exhale only carbon dioxide or mixture of gases along with it? Do we take oxygen only, or do we exhale only carbon dioxide or mixture of gases? You must have also observed that you exhale on a mirror, a film of moisture appears on its surface. When we exhale on a mirror, a film of moisture appears on its surface. And where do these droplets come? Where is this droplet or water? Today we will discuss biology based on NCERT, and the name of the topic is respiration in organism. This topic we will study today. This is another important page slide, the percentage of oxygen and carbon dioxide in inhaled and exhaled air. When we inhale air in the atmosphere, 21% oxygen is there, and that oxygen that we take after going into lungs, and then only during inhalation 0.04% carbon dioxide is there. It means content of carbon dioxide is very less, which is in the natural air. But when we exhale, it means the amount of carbon dioxide is very high comparatively. 4.4% carbon dioxide is there in the exhaling air, and only 16.4% oxygen is there. It means there will be deficiency of oxygen, and more will be the carbon dioxide rich air will go out from our body. So we take more oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide during our breathing, during our respiration process. Breathing in other animals, how does it happen? If we talk about the cockroach everybody knows, in houses, in kitchen, you generally see cockroaches. A cockroach has a small opening on the side of its body. Other insects also have the similar opening. These openings are called spiracles. Opening are called spiracles on the body, and insects have a network of air tubes called trachea for gas exchange. These insects have trachea for gas exchange. And what is trachea? Network of air tubes. Oxygen rich air rushes through the spiracles. What were spiracles? Opening. Through spiracles it go into the tracheal tubes. And what is tracheal tube? Air tubes, network of air tubes, and these diffuses into the body tissue and then reaches every cell of the body. So the tracheal tubes plays important role to diffuse into the body tissue, and then oxygen reaches every cell of the body. Similarly, carbon dioxide from the cell goes into the tracheal tubes and moves out through spiracles. Or you can say the tracheal tubes plays role like lungs in our in human being. Tracheal tube play role of exhalation and inhalation. In insects, cockroaches, like these air tubes or trachea are found only in insect and not in any other group of animal. Very important question here is, trachea is found where? Answer is trachea or air tubes are present in insects, and insect takes oxygen and carbon dioxide which is out through a tracheal process, tracheal tubes. If we talk about other animal like earthworm, how does it take oxygen and breathe out, or what is the process of respiration in earthworm? Earthworm breathe through their skin. Very important, skin is playing here role. Skin of the earthworm feels moist and slimy on touching, and gases can easily pass through them. That's why gases can easily pass through them, because of this moist and slimy nature of the skin, and gases exchange take place over there. Though frogs have pair of lungs like human beings, they can also breathe through skin which is moist and slippery. It means frogs takes lungs, uses lungs and skin both. Breathing underwater. Can you survive in water? There are many organisms which live in water. There are many organisms which live in water. How do they breathe underwater? Gills in fish help to use oxygen dissolved in water. Gills are present in the fish which help in to take oxygen which is dissolved in water. Gills are projection of the skins. In fact, just you have seen in frog which are the projection of skin. You may wonder how gills help in breathing. Gills are well supplied with blood vessels for exchange of gases. Gills have quality blood vessels well supplied with blood vessels, and over there exchange of gases take place and carbon dioxide comes out and other gases comes out and oxygen goes inside. You can see the diagram of fish. These are the gills which are present and the blood vessels. This is network of blood vessels present and gaseous exchange takes place over there. Breathing organs in fish. Now these were the animals, and now we talk about if plants. Then how do they respire? Like other living organism, plant also respire for their survival. They also take oxygen from the air and gives our carbon dioxide. So in photosynthesis, we have seen the reverse process where oxygen comes out. But in case of respiration, oxygen goes in and carbon dioxide goes out. Also in plant. Process in plant is similar almost. In the cells, oxygen is used to break down glucose into carbon dioxide and water as in other organisms. This is the happening in also in plant cells, glucose into carbon dioxide and water. In plants, each part can independently take in oxygen from the air and gives out carbon dioxide. In the cells, oxygen is used to break down glucose into carbon dioxide and water as in other air organisms. This is important. Carbon dioxide and water and respiration also takes place in plants. In plants, each part can independently take in oxygen from the air and give out carbon dioxide. Leaves of plant have teeny pores. Leaves of plant have teeny pores, and these pores are called stomata, which are used for exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Like other living cells of the plants, the root cells also need oxygen to generate energy. Root cells also need oxygen to generate energy, and roots take up air from the air spaces present between the soil particles. Important here is the root take oxygen which is present in air spaces, and that is present in the soil particles. Now these are soil particles. This is the how root takes air or oxygen from the soil. These are soil particles, and this is root here, and this is the air space. Now from the air space oxygen reaches towards root cells, root hairs, and from this portion oxygen taken, and then the respiration and the process takes place in the root of plants also. So now we have discussed the chapter respiration. We have discussed in plants, human being, and fishes, frogs, and other animals as well in plants. Now after this learning, in this chapter various important words have been used. Now this is your turn, whether you are able to understand this chapter or not. If you can solve this, try to give answer of these keywords, and these keywords are aerobic respiration. These keywords in fact have been used during our presentation, and try to give answer of these keywords. Aerobic respiration, what is aerobic respiration? What is anaerobic respiration? What is breathing rate? What is cellular respiration? What is the difference between respiration and breathing? Diaphragm, exhalation, and where the term gills are used or is used. Inhalation, spiracles, the term spiracle have been also used. Trachea is used. All these keywords have been used during our discussion in this chapter. Try to give answer of these keywords. All the best.